Hey everyone, welcome to the Brooke Team Market Update for August 2024. Well, this year has been a very tumultuous year when it comes to real estate, especially real estate practices. You know, over the past, I would say, decade or two, it's been a common practice for sellers to have the fee for the buyer's agency included in the price of their home when they sell it. So if you're planning on selling your home within the next year or two, you definitely want to keep this in mind and watch this video. By the way, if you're buying a house as well, this can be extremely important as it may have you spend your money a little bit differently. All right, so let's get into it. What really happened? Well, about a year ago, there was a national lawsuit, one of the largest class action lawsuits that ever occurred for trade industries, and that is the Ketchmark NAR lawsuit. And what happened in this was a class action lawsuit against the National Association of Realtors, in which the National Association of Realtors was sued for $1.8 billion. What ended up happening was a lot of the major organizations of real estate companies decided to settle this in an agreement. And that settlement basically says this. Here's the outline for it. Number one, we can no longer advertise the buyer agency compensation on the MLS. That's number one. The purpose of this is so that we can have direct conversations, buyers and brokers together, is to exactly how much a buyer agent is going to charge a buyer in order to work with them. On the reciprocal side, it allows the seller the opportunity to only pay for the marketing costs that would show up for them from the listing agent. Essentially what you're doing is, if you're working with a seller agent to list your property, you just pay the seller agent. And if you're working with a buyer agent, you're just worrying about their fee. Now there's so many questions that are starting to arise with this, which is why I want you to subscribe to this channel. If you have not subscribed so far, please subscribe, as there's more videos that we're gonna make in order to explain this in the easiest terms possible for both buyers and sellers so they understand. Now, what's going to happen going forward? Well, going forward, we're now going to have the ability to have this conversation directly with sellers that, for the most part, we always had, which is going to specifically say, if you want to work with a listing agency like the Brooke Team at EXP, then these are our fees for the different packages of services that we offer. And if you're going to work with us on the buyer side, then these are the fees for the different service levels that we have there. This is a huge change in the industry, and it hasn't occurred like this in literally decades. And so it's extremely important, if you're watching these market updates, not just to be informed about what's happening with interest rates or home prices, but also how that might affect some of your closing costs or what it's like when you go to list your property. Now, here's what you need to know going forward. If you're about to list a property, you're going to want to meet with a Brooke Team agent sooner rather than later in order to talk about how this has affected the market. And if you're thinking about buying a property right now, there are so many solutions right now in order for buyers to still have that compensation wrapped in with their purchase price, so it doesn't affect them in a way that they might think negatively. Now, the reason that we're doing this video is because there's so many bad news channels out there who are putting out this information that's just not clear. And in fact, many brokerages are still not complying with this NAR settlement, which is going to get them into more hot water later and potentially even their clients. So if you've been thinking about buying or selling a home in the next 9 to 18 months, this video is for you. I want you to save it. I want you to subscribe to this channel and reach out to your Brooke Team agent for more information. So now what's happening in the real estate market in terms of pricing? Well, we're in August, which is traditionally one of the slower months of real estate. People have gone through, they've already bought their houses if they're hoping to be in the school systems by this end of August timeframe, and we get back to school. But when it comes to this year in particular, we are in an election year, which means that real estate typically has about a 5 to 10% or more lull before the election happens and then accelerates right after that. People are just in this time when they're looking at this period just before the election with uncertainty. They're not sure who's going to be in power, who's not, which administration and the policies that they have are going to be affecting them, and many times they don't want to make massive financial decisions during that time of uncertainty. The great thing about working with a Brooke Team agent is we are constantly delving in to how we can best educate ourselves and bring the most current information, data, and education to our clients so that they stay super informed in this process and that they're the best buyers and sellers on the market. Thanks so much, guys, for watching. Appreciate you. Subscribe to this channel. And now, without further ado, here's the real estate numbers for Connecticut, Massachusetts, Rhode Island, and Florida.